These hills are ancient. Long before roads, long before the settlers, the Osage people knew these ridges and hollows. Today, we're heading deep into a protected piece of that past, the Piney Creek Wilderness, nestled within the vast Mark Twain National Forest. This isn't just about off-roading, it's about tracing faint paths left by time. Hello everyone, today we're tackling some historic routes near Piney Creek, trails like Williams Branch and Piney Ridge. These aren't purpose-built off-road parks. Many started as wagon tracks or logging paths over a century ago. And of course, we've got Titus, our 12-year-old adventure lab. He might be blind, but his spirit for exploring these old hills is sharper than ever. The roads within the wilderness often follow the contours laid down by necessity. Imagine mule teams hauling timber out of these woods in the late 1800s, or early homesteaders trying to carve out a life in this rocky soil. That's the legacy under our tires today. We're currently on Forest Road 1227. It's a mix: dirt, grass, some bedrock, and definitely some mud holes if it rains. You can see why traveling was so tough for these early settlers. Four-wheel drive isn't just fun out here. Back then, it was pure grit and animal power that made survival possible. As we travel through these woods today, it became very apparent that it would not have been easy if it were not for the four-wheel drive that we have in our Jeep. As you see, while we push further along Williams Branch Trail, some sections feel truly remote, likely following old paths connecting springs or natural clearings known to locals for generations. The trees close in, the track narrows, and our Jeep will forever be marked by the memories of today's ride. This area saw intense activity during the Ozarks timber boom. Tucked deep within Missouri's Mark Twain National Forest lies where we are today, Piney Creek Wilderness, a quiet, untamed place where nature has reclaimed the land. But step back in time, and this peaceful forest tells a very different story. In the late 1800s, the air here rang with the sound of saws and steam engines. Logging railroads crisscrossed the hills, hauling away vast stands of pine. The timber was in high demand. It was fueling America's growing cities with lumber for buildings, shingles, and miles of railroad ties. At its peak, Missouri's timber industry was booming. Sawmills ran day and night. And by 1899, the state had become one of the top producers of lumber in the nation. But by 1910, nearly every markable pine tree had been cut. The great forest was gone, and so was the industry that depended on them. Left behind were stripped hillsides and barren soil. The land was sold off mostly to settlers hoping to farm the cleared terrain. For a time, tomatoes, strawberries, farms thrived here, but it didn't last. By the 1950s, most of the farms were abandoned, and nature quietly began to return. Today, Piney Creek Wilderness is a story of recovery, a living monument to resilience. Trails wind through hardwood forest, creeks run clear again, and the wilderness whispers the history of all that came before. It's a place to reflect, to breathe, and to remember that even the most heavily used land can be healed. As we pull off to air back up, Titus takes the time to soak in the ever-changing surroundings as I intently study the dancing hues of greens and blues as spring begins to bloom in the Ozark Mountains. Take a right out of here. Next, we're off to a part of the wilderness that opens up and invites us to have lunch. We found a spot up on Piney Ridge for lunch. From up here, you can almost feel the isolation the first European settlers must have experienced. Actually, I probably Looking out over this expanse, it feels unchanged. But we know better. This forest is resilient. It's grown back, hiding the scars of logging and homesteading. And as we sit to enjoy our lunch in one of the endless dispersed camping sites in Piney Creek Wilderness, we listen to the wind dancing through the trees. These songs whistling through the trees echo across generations. Imagine surveyors mapping this, or hunters tracking game through these hills centuries ago. It puts our ride today into perspective. We're just passing through a landscape rich with stories. Our final pull-off is the Southern Trailhead, where we are reminded that we are not at the top of the food chain here. I take a moment to venture down the faint trail to see what I can see, but of course, with caution, awareness of my surroundings, and with my bear spray in hand. As this land reclaims its serenity, it offers a haven for diverse wildlife. Among its most notable resident is the American black bear, once nearly eradicated from Missouri due to overhunting and habitat loss. These majestic creatures have made a remarkable comeback. Today, an estimated 800 to 1,000 black bears roam the state, with many calling the Ozarks and Piney Creek Wilderness their home. As you traverse the winding trails and dense forests, remember that you're sharing this space with these powerful yet elusive animals. Black bears are generally shy and avoid human interaction, but it's essential to stay vigilant. Keep your campsite clean, store food securely, and never approach a bear if encountered. Piney Creek Wilderness wasn't designated until 1980. Before that, it was simply part of the National Forest trying to recover. The Wilderness Act aimed to preserve areas where the earth and its community of life are untrampled by man, where man himself is a visitor who does not remain. Yet the echoes of those who did remain for a time are still here if you know how to listen. Coming out here isn't just about conquering trails. It's about experiencing a place that feels profoundly real. It hasn't been sanitized. You feel the ruggedness, the history, the quiet power of nature reclaiming its own. It's a reminder of a different pace of life, a different way of seeing the world. Of course, Titus doesn't need to see the view to feel the peace of this place. He experiences the trail through sound, scent, and the rumble of the Jeep. Maybe he connected with the spirit of this wilderness more directly than we can. That's a wrap on our journey through the history and trails of Piney Creek Wilderness. Thanks for riding shotgun with us, Chris, Michelle, and Titus, on Blind Dog Off-Road Adventures. If you enjoyed this blend of history and adventure, hit that like button and leave us a comment. Maybe share your own favorite historical trail. Remember to tread lightly, respect the wilderness, and carry its stories with you. Until next time, keep exploring the natural beauty of the wilderness that God has entrusted to us.